Why is Ruto not coming back?
So, let me tell you this, that until 2029, the next census, when Luyas are expected to be equal to Kikuyus, in 2027, the only side that can win an election is the side with which Mount Kenya will cast a vote.
What does a Kenya without Raila going forward mean to the democratic space of Kenya and even to those other African continents that it inspired?
A Kenya without Raila is a Kenya number one Raila had already worked around. Because what Raila did is that he manufactured a lot of Raila-lets, of Railas. In 2024, there was what I call a crash program that created so many Railas.
Who replaces which face of Raila Odinga? Because we've talked about the man, the politician. Probably we need even 10 people to replace Raila, the man.
Even if you combine 10 people, or even 20, even 100, there will be no one in ODM party to replace Raila Odinga.
What are the long-term implications of Raila Odinga's exit in Kenya's politics, and particularly in the democratic balance and even in opposition politics?
Raila Odinga was fighting for multi-party democracy.
Yes.
And he achieved it so well, and many people are enjoying those kind of freedoms. What we are looking at is that going forward, which is a likelihood, there will be suppression of voices. We have seen on the material day when Raila Odinga was announced dead, the cyber crime law was signed into law, right? And there are so many things which will change, definitely.
Why is it difficult to do elections in UDA?
Because ODM was the only other party that did elections like KANU used to do elections. I'm talking about the old KANU. Wachana na ESIs imekuwa CBO.
Thank you so much for joining us for the Power Table tonight. Well, my name is Eugene Kwach. And on the Power Table, we get to talk about issues that affect you, issues of power, issues to do with influence and politics, economy, and business. And on this Power Table, we bring men and women of influence. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we talk about succeeding Raila. Well, Raila Odinga, the man, the politician, the symbol of defiance and hope, is now the one to be replaced. Now, for decades, he has defined Kenya's opposition politics. He has carried the dream of reform and shaped generations of leaders. Now, his voice has been both the rallying cry for justice and the conscience of the nation. But as history turns the page, a new question confronts Kenya. What does it truly mean to succeed Raila Odinga? Is it about taking over his party, ODM, or inheriting his place in the national imagination? Is it about carrying the Odinga legacy or building something entirely new? Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we explore the meaning, the politics, and the power struggles behind succeeding Raila Odinga. From Oburu Odinga's emergency as party leader to a restless generation demanding its space, from internal divisions to potential alliances beyond 2027, we ask, who steps forward? What direction does ODM take? And can anyone fill the void Raila leaves behind? Well, we begin this question with a very pertinent question that is quite important. What really is to be inherited? And of course, we are going to have this conversation through the lenses of two powerful gentlemen. We have Arnold Maliba. Thank you so much, Sir Arnold Maliba.
Thank you.
Who is a political pundit and commentator, and as well as a party leader.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. You're a party leader.
Yes, we are working on a party that we hope should be finalized by December.
Yeah.
Progress Plus Alliance. We believe that, like most colonized countries, there are three phases to liberation. The first liberation is to do away with the colonizer. That was done by the independence fathers. The second liberation is actually to embed democracy. And then upon democracy is to bring in then, once you have democracy, you can then bring in the third, and in my opinion, final liberation, the third and final liberation, which is socio-economic. That it's not just enough for you to have, or rather be in an independent country. But being in an independent country with democracy, it should then reflect in the quality of life. And that, for me, I think that social and economic empowerment, the third and final liberation, should be done in our lifetime.
Wow. Quite interesting. We also have Anthony Manyara, a gentleman who also happens to be a party leader. Yes. So I have two party leaders with me today. So we have Mr. Arnold Maliba, and of course we also have Anthony Manyara, who's a party leader. What about your party?
First of all, thank you so much, Kwach, for hosting me in your show once again. I've come here quite a number of times. I want to thank my brother Maliba also for coming up with a political party. And I think that is the best step towards the right direction, because young people in Kenya, for far too long, they have been used as pawns in a bigger kind of game. And every time they are complaining, saying that they are getting breadcrumbs from the table, it is the right time for young people to identify what makes a government. I will tell you for sure, Coach, political parties form a government. And the political parties that do not succeed then form the opposition. Now, if young people cling on these political parties without having real power in them, no matter how many demonstrations, no matter how many protests we do, we may not really be able to influence matters, policy, matters, governance, matters, socio-economic issues. So my political party, which we have reached the provisional registration level, it is called the Cabbage Party. But in real sense, it is the Real Action Alliance, RA. Whenever I tell comrades RA, now that is the name of the party.
Yes.
And I think our ideology really is to see how we can be able to boost, or rather to empower people economically.
Yes.
From down, comrades wamezoea mambo ya cabbage.
Yes.
It's to see how someone can put food on the table, to see how someone can survive.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let me begin with you, Sir Arnold Maliba. And thank you again for joining this conversation, accepting my invite.
Thank you.
The first question is, when we talk about succeeding Raila Odinga, then the question is, what is really there to be succeeded in Raila Odinga? What is to be inherited?
Well, first and foremost, power bores a vacuum.
Okay.
Raila has been hogging some space within the power spectrum of the country, regionally and even continentally. And now that he's actually left, there is a vacuum that has actually been filled already. Remember, a day after his death, NEC met, even as the plane went to India to bring his body. The ODM NEC met and endorsed an acting party leader. That's just how much power bores a vacuum. As in, he literally hadn't gone cold on the table before his own people met the following day. The plane hadn't even landed, but they actually sat down and came up with an acting party, as much as it's his own brother. But that is how cold it is. That's the reality of these things. So Raila was very many things. It's almost impossible. It's definitely impossible to have an individual, a single individual, inherit Raila in all his aspects. There's Raila, the family man. Of course, Mama Ida takes care of that. There's Raila, quote unquote, the Luo leader. Somebody is going to emerge eventually and do that. There is also the Raila aspect that united the Kavirondo. The Kavirondo side, both north and south, as in western, and I do not think that as it is today, Oburu can actually say he stood in, and now he can actually command the same respect Raila commanded from the west of the country. Then there is now Raila, the national figure. That again, so Raila's political estate is vast. For the private estate, there is his children, Junior, Winnie, Rosemary, his grandchildren, and even the wife to take care of that. But Raila's political estate is quite vast. That's why I've started speaking about there's the Nyanza part of it that you can't run away from. There is the Luo leadership, where he literally has been the undisputed Luo leader for the last about 30 years, or 40 years. There's the Kavirondo bit of it, where he's largely been the leader of that particular aspect. There's the national bit of it, because then there are other pockets where he actually has had leadership. at the national level. Then there is regional. So there is so much. And I do not think that there is that single individual who can actually pretend that he can actually take over all that. What I have seen is that there is an attempt of discussing Raila's succession through the prism of what happens in ODM, which, in my opinion, is actually a very linear and very small way of looking at the person of Raila Odinga. Because ODM is not Raila Odinga. ODM is just one of Raila Odinga's legacies. In fact, in my own words, ODM is actually a parasite that had a symbiotic relationship with the host, who was Raila Odinga. ODM became that creature that we know because it was Raila's party. Then Raila had benefit from ODM because he used ODM to organize his own politics. So ODM, in my words, is just a parasite that has relevance, currency, and even the premiums that ODM has, the bonga points that ODM has, is simply because it's Raila Odinga's party.
Yes.
So, as such, you can actually see a parasite and host relationship.
Yes.
But this is symbiotic.
Yes.
Because Raila then uses ODM to organize his politics.
Yes.
ODM gets its relevance and currency in being Raila Odinga's party.
Yes.
I say that because if Raila had started a new party, let's say Maandamano party, ODM would automatically lose its currency.
Okay.
So ODM's currency and value is simply because it's Raila Odinga's party.
Yes.
But then it wasn't just a host, it wasn't just a parasite that benefited from Raila. It also gave Raila some benefits. And that when Raila wants to organize his politics, he will do that through ODM.
Okay.
So if you're going to look at Raila's succession, there are so many things to look at. Number one, the succession within ODM. The succession within ODM is not Raila's succession. Already we have got an acting party leader.
Okay.
But we still are talking about succession.
Okay.
You have seen people who are not in ODM also showing up, and we're talking about succession, Raila succession. Still, even though we already have got an acting party leader in ODM, but the country is still talking about Raila's succession, which means that Raila's succession is much bigger than the shenanigans that are happening within ODM.
Quite interesting. Let me bring you in Anthony Manyara, because he's introduced us to what I will term as the many faces of Raila Odinga. He's talked about Raila the family man, Raila the politician, and not just Raila the politician, but of course even as a politician who will probably lead masses from Luo to the Kikuyu, the western coast and so on. And he's also mentioned Raila many things, including the chair, the patron of Gor Mahia. So Raila is many things. So people are talking about Raila Odinga. Everyone wants to succeed this man, Raila Odinga. So who succeeds which face of Raila Odinga? Can we really have one person to succeed all the faces of Raila Odinga?
Well, first of all, it's good to go way back.
Yes.
Raila Odinga rose to power through self-sacrifice. He's someone who was imprisoned for around 6 years.
Yes.
He's someone who fought for multi-party democracy with the likes of Young Turks, the likes of Orengos. You know, these leaders we have seen, they sacrificed their own freedom. They risked it all to ensure that this country has freedom, especially multi-party democracy. Now, Raila Odinga has managed over time, of course, using opposition politics to build up a serious network of friendships, not just in Kenya, across the continent and also overseas. You remember, even there is a time Olusegun Obasanjo, he was imprisoned in his own country for having participated in Kenyan politics here. Just visiting Raila, he was imprisoned back there. Raila Odinga has serious networks. If I ask you right now, Oburu Odinga, what networks does he have beyond the country? None. And I will say this very confidently, that it is very difficult for people to replace the Raila, the man we knew. And secondly, also, to say that ODM was built like a personality kind of entity, whereby we see the individual before we see the party. The party has helped so many people. Like I said last time when I was here, I said that we have what we call political orphans. There are so many people who lose elections simply because Raila is not in the picture. Even here in Nairobi, you have seen the gubernatorial position, I've just been told by my friend here, Maliba, that Kindero is coming back. As young people, we have been so much rallying behind Babu Owino. But you see now the arithmetic will change, because when there is no leader who was there to give direction, we'll see, of course, there will be a lot of change in alliance. A lot of political parties will crop up. So many political figures will rise. But now, in 2027, it has two fronts. One, there will be the front of young people who have nothing, who might get positions.
Before we get to 2027, I was just keen on understanding who replaces which face of Raila Odinga, because we've talked about the man, the politician. Probably would need even 10 people to replace Raila, the man.
Even if you combine 10 people, or even 20, even 100, there will be no one in ODM party to replace Raila Odinga. Simply because he was the man who was cementing. You know, he was the, is it brick and mortar? He was the one binding the forces.
Okay.
Even the coalitions, when they were happening, NASA, you remember, name it all.
Yes.
All these coalitions. It is Raila who made it possible.
Yes.
Even for political parties, for political parties that participated in politics against ODM. ODM was a force, a strong force, because of Raila. Remember, he's someone who did demonstrations in Nairobi. He was someone who could not be shot. He could not be killed. He could not be arrested. But right now, if people try to do the kind of aggressiveness of demonstrations the way we saw Raila do, we never know. It might be a scenario like what we are seeing in Uganda or in Tanzania. But let's hope we won't reach that level.
Yes.
Thank you.
Probably, Kwach,
yes.
I'm just thinking we should try and see what faces of Raila have found successors already.
Yes.
And what awaits his succession.
Okay.
Like I said earlier on, Raila Odinga was very many things.
Yes.
You've seen that employee, there's that single employee whom, if you fire or he leaves the company, you end up hiring multiple people to try and replace that single individual. Because sometimes you might not get the same value. There's no single person coming in and could play the pivotal role like the employee you've just sent home. So let's start with the basics. Raila was the patron of Gor Mahia. So Eliud Owalo is now the patron of Gor Mahia. That is just one aspect of Raila that has been replaced. Then Raila was the party leader of ODM. His brother, Oburu Odinga, is now the acting party leader. But there's still the leadership, the ideological leadership that Raila espoused. You saw Kalonzo the other day coming around and still saying that people saying that we will not forget you. There's something that actually speaks to that there is a national leadership that Raila occupied, and Kalonzo is actually vying for that particular space. I say that family level, of course, Junior, Mama, Winnie, and Rosemary can take care of that, plus the young ones. So Raila, the ideologue, who stands in as the social democrat going forward, the leader of the social democrat, who stands in as the leader of the progressive force in this country. That is still up for grabs. So there is this assumption that if you take care of the succession within ODM, you've taken care of Raila's succession. Raila is much bigger than ODM. ODM is way smaller than the person of Raila Odinga. So it's going to take a lot of time. Like I've told you, the only spaces around Raila that have been taken care of is Raila, the patron of Gor Mahia, that is settled. One man called Owalo, a former CS, has taken up that. The party leader has taken up that. But you see, everybody, and even the lines of pilgrims that are actually going to Bondo, as in those lines will only stop when a new leader emerges.
Yes.
Because the new national leader is not yet there.
Yeah.
There's the space. So people are still going to the grave. They are still going to where their hero fell. There is so as much as the British say, the king is dead, long live the king. Normally it's you're putting the crown on another person, and therefore we mourn. And
is it long live the crown or long live the king? Okay.
So when you talk about the king is dead, is long live the king. This long live the crown was simply Winnie's way of coming up with being creative, and I know where that is going, because of course she's a lady and probably she would want to inherit the father. So whoever went down was a king. So you wouldn't say it would have been so obvious for her to say the king is dead, long live the queen. People would have actually have known, and probably even at family level, it would have caused problems. But from where we sit today, only 2 aspects of Raila have been filled. The party leader of ODM, and even the party leader of ODM is not substantively filled. What they have is an acting party leader. Who is Raila, or who is Raila's brother. From what I think is that ODM has not really come to terms with Raila's exit, and number 2, the party is not ready to talk about Raila's succession in ODM, and they are using the Odinga name. The Odinga name to do what? To put the party together. It is a temporary sellotape to hold the party together as they figure out what they want. Because all the factions within ODM are still baying and vying for the position of leadership. And I know, for me, I know ODM has got 3 pillars. Each pillar is essential, but in and of itself is not sufficient. So the one overarching and binding glue has been Raila Odinga. So the first pillar is the ideologues, Sifunas of this world, Anyang' Nyong'o, and Orengo, and so many others. Then there is the pillar of the masses. I call it the pillar of violence. The enforcement, the real foot soldiers. This one stands in between because it draws both utility and power, both on the ideology side, and then there is the third arm, which is the resource part of it. There are some people in ODM who are simply there because they bring money. They might not ideologically be attuned to where the party is going, but that is a standalone pillar that is very, very important. It has got the jaws of this world, the business people that have always been with ODM. So ODM has got 3 pillars: the resourcing side, the masses bit of it, and then the ideologues or the ideological arm. But the person that actually puts these 3 together to make it functional a party has always been Raila Odinga. Is Oburu Odinga going to actually step up into this? We are yet to see. So I still think that using the Odinga name is a temporary solution for ODM, because you can actually see that there is internal contradiction in ODM, ideologically speaking. And every time an organization has got internal contradiction, it always breaks down.
Wow, quite interesting. Actually, because I intended to ask that the transition of the party leader from, of course, after the death of Raila Odinga, giving it to another Odinga, was it because they actually didn't want, because of identity crisis?
That is a ceasefire solution. It's a ceasefire is not necessarily a cessation of hostilities. But then we are saying it's not peace. We are saying like North Korea and South Korea, for example, have had a ceasefire for a long time, but technically they are still at war. So Oburu Odinga is simply here as a ceasefire party leader. So that then everybody else feels ashamed to fight Raila's brother.
That's interesting. Now, let me bring you in this, because we have had so many people, and particularly the youth, who really want and wish to succeed Raila Odinga. You talk about Babu Owino, you talk about Edwin Sifuna, and so many other people who would wish to succeed Raila Odinga. So permit me to ask, even generally, how does even the young voters interpret the ODM succession conversation? Is it even one that is actually inspiring now that we have Oburu Odinga, and particularly when you talk about in the context of ODM, do you think it's something that is even the leadership of Oburu, is it even tenable?
Well, as Andon has said, Oburu Odinga was a wise choice because he's the one who is maintaining calm in terms of very many fronts. Likes at Gladys Wanga, Babu Owino, all these leaders, they all wanted to succeed Raila. And like Babu is a young person. And what we can see are very many young people. They all have ambition. But his succession really is something which is practical. Sometimes there is so many aspects in one man. Raila had the resource, and I don't think there are so many young people at our age, let's say millennials or Gen Zs, who have the kind of money to run a political party of such stature with the resources that they require. A political party requires a lot of resource, even to run a presidential campaign, even to front candidates from various quarters of the country. So if we may say it's about succession from a young person, that might be extremely very much challenging. Unless maybe a young person vying through a political party, and then now you rise up, within time you create wealth, and then you see how you can mobilize, grassroots mobilization and that and whatnot. So in my opinion, I think young people still have a long way to go.
Yes.
And what myself and Arnold have done is just the starting point. Having a political party, that is just the inception.
Now let me ask you.
Yeah.
Oburu Odinga himself, as the party leader, says that, you see, look, the kingpin, or rather the next kingpin, just like Raila Odinga, will not come from the contemporaries of Raila. It will come from the younger generation. Probably, when he talked about younger generation, probably the likes of Mbadi, the likes of Gladys Wanga, the likes of Babu Wino. We could even talk of Edwin Sifuna and so many people that have wanted to inherit him. Now, but the real question would be that when you look at the succession, and when you talk about Raila's succession, I do not entirely just mean ODM, but I truly mean the constituency that Raila actually was able to control. Do you think that this constituency is actually ready for a generational transition? And if so, then who?
What I know is that what Raila left is not something which is up for grabs, because people are so much disintegrated. Like I said, they are political orphans. A political party like ODM, which was united by Raila, when it is off the table, definitely a lot of people will have wrangles. Even if Oburu Odinga will be there, I'm just foreseeing that there will be a lot of defections to other political parties. Okay. And you see now, if ODM will shift from the personality kind of ideology to kind of values, party values, the issues to do with public participation, and advancing the agenda that Raila was pushing, the multi-party democracy, all these kind of things, the party might leave quite a bit. But you see, the uniting factor will still face a lot of challenges. But if, as we go forward, if that will not be the case, then ODM will seriously struggle. Okay. And I know very well even the opposing political parties, strong like UDA, you can say like Jubilee became drastically dropped from popularity to now it's a little bit middle level thereabouts. Okay. That might be the likes of ODM. If people do not unite, now unity, you have first of all even to endear the young people. And the question that you asked, do young people really, the party is envisioning to bring young people as leaders in this party. Sisi tumekuwa kwa serikali for a long time. We know. I was the Azimio Youth League leader. Yes. I've been to those spaces. Yes. We formed movement for the defense of democracy. I'll tell you for free. Yeah. As we go forward, if young people will be involved in ODM, most of them will be props. Okay. They will just be the facade of the party, just to endear the young people. Okay. But what we know is that still, the kind of people that were in the Raila family, they will still be holding, they will still be moving things. So I believe if the party does not move towards the value-based kind of policies, I think we are looking at a party which is...
But before I come to you, Maliba, do you think yourself that the party itself, when you look at it, is it even ready to re-engineer itself to accommodate some of this?
Now, the people who are consulting, let's look at them. If all of them have ambition. Okay. Gladys Wanga wants to be a national leader. Yes. But where he's campaigning too much is Homa Bay and those sites. Babu Owino wants to be the leader, but his main intention is to become governor for Nairobi. Everyone who is aspiring to be to inherit Raila is not vying for a presidential ticket.
ODM as a party, is it ready to engineer itself to even accommodate
Let
all
me ask you a simple question.
Yes.
Is ODM bringing a presidential candidate? And who is he? You see, a political party which is strong enough to reach the grassroots as the way it was in Raila. Raila was the vision. We need to have a presidential party. Now they are talking about a deputy party leader. Now how will such kind of a party bring itself to its level the way it was?
Okay.
If what we are fronting is a deputy party
all the thought right there.
President.
Let me come to you, Mr. Maliba, because you're asking, and I wish to pose the same question to you of what Oburu Odinga said, that, look, the party, the person who actually would inherit Raila Odinga will not come from the contemporaries of Raila. He will be coming from the younger generations. Probably. What do you think of?
You know, it's good that Oburu asks, or rather says.
Yes.
Oburu posits that the person that will actually replace him, because he's already a substantive party leader, will be much younger. That is easier said. The biggest question is when. Because he didn't say when. If he really meant what he said, he would have said that we plan to actually, this is how we plan to handle Raila Odinga's succession, and that I am in acting capacity, and I look forward to hand over to somebody else at this particular point. He did not answer the question of when. That is the most important question. And like I said, ODM, or rather Raila's succession, and bringing in Oburu as the party leader, was a temporary measure by those people, the status quo. We know within ODM there's also the establishment. So the status quo that was afraid that Sifuna and all other young people, including the other radicals like Orengo and Anyang' Nyong'o, will run away with the party. So Oburu has run away from the most important question. When?
When?
Because...
And how important is the when question?
The when question is very, very important because, number one, there is already an ideological contradiction within ODM.
Okay.
So if there's the question of re-engineering the party, the question of when must be answered now. If Oburu must actually, not just telling us that young people will take over, that is a demographic imperative. It will happen. Because life is a conveyor belt. The older ones are actually phased out. Raila has actually left out. Oburu, I think, is 82.
Yes.
So he definitely at some point will actually be leaving. But will he be leaving the ODM that Raila Odinga left behind? So if he's talking about ODM, a stronger party that is robust, it's actually very important that we start asking the question when Oburu Odinga ceases to become the acting party leader for two main reasons. Number one, he was not in the leadership of ODM, the core leadership. Unless he was in the leadership by association to his brother.
Okay.
Otherwise, ODM had 4 party leaders, or 4 deputy party leaders.
Yes.
None of them could step in, since that particular decision was made to do. So, the question of when will then respond to so many things. But then, like I've said, the party already has got an internal contradiction. They don't read from the same script. Others feel they want to champion what Baba represented ideologically. Others feel that it's important for them to sit down and be comfortable.
Okay, so let me just ask you, Maliba. You've mentioned rightly that the ODM party had 4 deputy party leaders who are probably the heir apparent. So, and Oburu probably has just come from nowhere because he was not among the core in the party leadership. Who among them? Because you've actually mentioned that it was just to act like a sellotape.
That's what I'm saying. That the party institutionally. And if ODM respects its constitution the way they talk about their constitution repeatedly. Institutionally. Either Simbarati. Osoti. Who's the other one? Who replaced Joho?
We have the governor of Mombasa, Abdul Swamad.
One of those will actually have come in as an acting party leader. But that the leadership sat down and had no faith in any of those to unite all of them speaks to a problem within. So the only question Oburu should be answering is not telling Babu and the others that you will take over from us.
But
that is a demographic imperative. Now, the question of when is important because the party is on trial. The party looks like it's actually breaking into so many small parts.
Now, the big question that I'll ask you, Mr. Maliba, is that who then can be able to take the mantle from Oburu and run with it, just like Raila Odinga did?
If you were to ask me that question,
Yes.
I will tell you that the first layer of leadership does not, or rather embellish the fire that Raila Odinga represented. So probably you start from the millennials in the party, starting with the oldest ones, like Gladys Wanga coming to Sifuna, Babu Owino, and the others. The only closer ideologically to, the only group ideologically that can actually probably bring in something that could match up, or rather try to catch up and look like what Raila was doing in the party, would be, from what they have, would be a millennial. But then, if you looked at the party, that is not necessarily the case. There are other people like Mbadi, for example, who's being pushed by President William Ruto. And the president, the ODM succession will not just be a factor of internal organization. It will also be, there could be external factors that can actually also influence that. And we saw the president during the burial of Raila Odinga, the president going all out and saying, giving Mbadi so many praises and asking the people, Siata Mbadi anatosha. That Mbadi anatosha question was not misplaced, was not a misspeaking. The president knew what he was doing. So from that particular statement, we know that the president has got an idea of making Mbadi the leader of ODM. And the president at the moment has got a little bit of leverage because he has got some very senior members from ODM in his cabinet.
Wow, quite interesting. Let's look into something else, still under Raila's succession, because I'd want us to even look at the future, what the future portends for ODM and other facets that Raila Odinga was able to capture as its leader. But before that, probably I would dare ask that, in your view, what are the long-term implications of Raila Odinga's exit in Kenya's politics, and particularly in the democratic balance and even in opposition politics? Does it have any great implications? Is there something changing? What do you think?
Raila Odinga was fighting for multi-party democracy. And he achieved it so well, and many people are, enjoying those kind of freedoms. What we are looking at is that going forward, which is a likelihood, there will be suppression of voices. We have seen on the material day when Raila Odinga was announced dead, the cyber crime law was signed into law, right? And there are so many things which will change, definitely. But I know very well Kenya is a beautiful country, and it is enabled because of so many tribes. There are so many faces. And I believe with time, I think things will change. But what you have asked is, will the young people adapt to these kind of changes with Raila exits? The question is, yes, we will adapt because, as you have seen, very many political formations are being done. And what we want to see is how politics will not be personalized. We want to see how political parties will be supported. Because when we talk about individuals, just like the way we had the times of Gideon Moi, whereby we had so many political figures in different regions over political parties themselves. When you have people being one person being a movement as opposed to a political party, then it means even policy-wise, even the opportunities cannot reach the common mwananchi, the hoi polloi. So I believe that if we have stronger mechanisms in which political parties can form issues to do with, can do grassroots mobilization, public participation, whereby young people can feel part and parcel of the same. Because I believe there's serious disconnect between even the millennials and the Gen Zs plus the older guard. That's why it will become very difficult for political parties really to transition power from the older guard to the younger generation.
Wow. Quite interesting. But just on the same note, because you've talked about one of the implications is that Raila, you see, is called the father of Mandamano. And for to a large extent, the government then knew that when you wanted to stop Mandamano, you had to invite Raila Odinga, you have a conversation with him, and then probably Mandamano ends. Going forward, how would probably what does it even mean to the government to come? Because they'll probably have no person to talk to and probably come to an agreement, because you realize that what happened in 2024 was quite dire compared to what had happened initially, because at least it was controlled. Raila will tell them, go this way or go to this place, but don't do this and this and this. What do you make?
I'll tell you this for a fact, using my own example.
Yes.
In 2023, we met with Raila at Jaramogi. It's called Joff.
Yes.
It's somewhere in Upper Hill. We met and we found something called Movement for the Defense of Democracy.
Yes.
Whereby it was a consortium of young conveners, youth leaders, who previously we had served as in the Azimio youth campaign team. And after forming that party, we decided that the attire that we will put on in these mandamanos will be the police kind of uniform, the combat style. And I remember doing a press conference at Chester House, Upper Town. I remember very well, policemen came out of nowhere, and we were dragged to a Central Police Station. And then I called Raila while in the cells, and Raila answered. And he told me, I'm aware, I've seen it in the news, you guys, you have been caught, and I'm sending my lawyers there, you won't stay for long. So the matter was building up very fast, and within around 2 hours, we were released. What is going to happen? This is a person who was forming mandamanos across the country, and people would come out genuinely without being mobilized. Nowadays, it's even to do small mandamano of around 50 people, 100. If it has to be extremely genuine, then it has to be to have a greater cause, maybe something to do, a violation of human rights and so forth. Now, Raila was a movement, he was championing the rights of the people which identified with common people. And irrespective of which tribe you came from, you came out actually to demonstrate.
Okay.
And I remember very well, particularly me as someone coming from Meru, you would push to the cause. It is because it is Raila who is involved in that mandamano. So what are we looking at in the future? Like I said, cybercrime law, cybercrime kind of policies, they were assented to law by the president. We are seeing a situation whereby the government is holding a lot of intelligence concerning people, where you are coming from, enabled by Safaricom, all these digital kind of things. What you post online is being monitored. Everything that you are doing is extremely being monitored, which means, you remember the 2 kind of people who had demonstration threatened in Kenya, and then they went to Uganda. They stayed in a fridge for quite some days, and even the president Museveni was bragging about it, how he tortured them. Yeah. What I hope will not happen is that young people out there to protest, which is enshrined in Article 27 of the Constitution, will not be violated by suppressing the voices of young people when they are fighting for their own cause. Now, just to end on that, I will just say this. Going forward, and what I foresee in the future, is that young people will revolt against the system. If at all, these will still continue, like how people are being monitored, how social media is being used against these people. If at all young people will want to have their voices heard, they want to champion for their own rights, to protect their own rights, then they will have to come out strongly, because we have seen in the recent mandamanos of Gen Z, when we started, or rather young people started, the Gen Zs when they started, they had a genuine cause and they were seeing there on the streets, they came out well. But with time, tunakuwa na zile zinaitwa paid activism. People are being paid from certain quarters, wanapewa pesa from, international organizations, NGOs. They are paid actually to go and neutralize, to go and gather intelligence and so forth. So we want to see whereby a society which young people, they are still fighting to ensure their rights are not being violated through the law.
Thank you so much. I think there's some series of issues that I need us to still look into before we come to the end of this conversation. But first of all, also let me ask you the same. Probably, what does a Kenya without Raila going forward mean to the democratic space of Kenya, and even to those other African continents that it inspired? And when I say African countries, I mean, when I say African countries, I mean even Tanzania. You saw the other time they were having protest and they were carrying Raila, Raila placards, his photos. So it meant that Raila's fight for democracy and his quest for a democratic continent is something that even so many other countries actually saw, and they really wished to follow. So what does it actually mean?
A Kenya without Raila is a Kenya number one Raila had already worked around. Because what Raila did is that he manufactured a lot of Railalettes, of Railas. In 2024, there was what I call a crash program that created so many Railas. The Gen Z maandamano created so many Railas. It democratized the power of oversight. It took away that space that Raila had, and all of a sudden, we have got so many Railas all over. It's as if fate had foretold that Raila was actually going away. And therefore, what was happening in 2024, for me, I look at it as a crash program that produced so many Railalettes. They are all over. So even in his departure, the country does not feel a void. Realistically, within the space of oversight and democracy, there are so many defenders now. And then now technology has come in, and technology is making it, or rather technology has become a multiplying force. A force multiplier, not even a multiplying force, but technology is a force multiplier when it comes to oversight and it comes to democracy. So 2024 answers the question of of Kenya without Raila Odinga. But then in the region, what are we looking at? We are looking at a place where now the struggle for the democratization of Africa now is no longer an individual national struggle. In this region, for example, it's already gone regional. Kenyans who have been seen to be overreaching have actually now made it almost normal for any other person to actually go out and using the universal human rights as a standard to ask for their rights. Tanzania is actually now out there, and you've seen them. That country will never be the same again. You know, for the longest time, Tanzania had the Tanzanians had actually lived on the goodwill of Nyerere. CCM has survived so long on the goodwill of Nyerere. In fact, Tanzania is where it is today, not because of anything CCM has done, but because of Nyerere's goodwill and the individual efforts of the people. Otherwise, subsequent governments that have come in ever since Nyerere left, you know, Nyerere, you will actually have to credit him with the nation building project.
Yes.
But after that, the others were just riding on the nyayo za Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, the goodwill. Now, CCM no longer has that goodwill. The goodwill is done. The Nyerere goodwill is done. They have no other ideas of recreating something that can actually keep the country together. So what have they resorted to? They've gone back to the old rule book where autocrats and dictators use violence. But is violence sustainable? No, it's not. So you will realize that in Tanzania's psyche, national psyche, there are a lot of, you know, CCM runs government by way of propaganda. So that somehow Tanzanians are seeing enemies everywhere. They are always talking about enemies that do not exist. For example, in Kenya, the only border we have that is totally settled is the Tanzanian border. We do not have a border question with Tanzania. Along that particular border, you will not find even a military installation 50 kilometers from the border. None. There is none. So Kenya's defense posture is such that Tanzania is not a threat to us, but a partner. Because of all the countries we share a border with, it's only the Tanzanian border that was demarcated and completely taken care of. But somehow you will find within the Tanzanian psyche, especially pushed by the ruling establishment, trying to sell this idea that Kenyans are enemies. Kenyans are not enemies. But you see, without an external enemy, CCM and the establishment in Dar es Salaam, or rather Dodoma, is unable to run that country. I have seen they are now even pushing a narrative that it's Rwanda that is actually pushing for for the destabilizing of that country. They are looking for enemies everywhere just because that is the only way they can herd people and isolate the people for people to start thinking that the only salvation they have is in CCM.
Yes.
Will that really survive for a long time? No. Kenyans have already shown that you can actually have democracy, have a country that is ruled by the rule of law, because technically in Tanzania there is no rule of law.
Yes.
There is no constitution.
Okay.
Because what they have, the president is above the law. Technically, the president is above the law. And once an individual or a group of people are above the law, that law is as good as not having a law. Because those guys are not just bending the law, they are breaking the law. So, without Raila now, when you saw that photo there, Raila is actually the father of Africa's second liberation, not just for this country alone. He embodies that second liberation struggle. Like I've told you, every African country has got 3 liberations before we get either into medium income or high income status. The first liberation is to get away the colonizer. All of us in Africa have done that. The colonialists have actually been sent away. The second liberation is the struggle of democracy. A few of us have managed that. Others are still struggling for democracy. Then the third and final liberation will be social and economic liberation, having money in the pockets of people. The struggle for independence and the struggle for democracy and good governance now being implicit in our lives, that you can see the value for having a free country, or rather living in a free country, and also having a democratic governance structure in place.
Yeah.
So it's not just enough to have a good and progressive constitution like we have.
Yeah.
It's not enough to live in a country that is free of mkoloni ashaenda if it does not reflect in the quality of life.
Yeah.
So Raila has embodied that for the longest time. Of course, he has got other comrades like Besigye.
Yes.
There's Tundu Lissu now in Tanzania.
Yes.
Rwanda has tried to ensure that they do not exist. Burundi is a sick case. But soon we are going to standardize, because what has happened is that our countries
what do you mean you're standardizing?
Standardizing of the struggle.
Yes.
This time round, we are not going to have, the second liberation will be fought from a format that is standardized. Because we have got the universal human rights. There is a way an election should look like. There is what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. Now that Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania are collaborating, I'm talking about countries, the governments are collaborating to clamp down on dissent. Then it's going to force the people of these countries to collaborate to resist. And that means that we will have a standard platform or template to work from. Because if Maria is coming, you remember that Tanzanian, the Tanzanian activist? You remember when she was abducted in Nairobi?
Yes.
You remember when Besigye was abducted just right across the road here?
Yeah.
So these countries can collaborate when it comes to clamping down on dissent. But they do not collaborate when it comes to business. It's so difficult to do business in the region, even though we have got common protocols on a common market, common customs and whatever. We still struggle. That kind of collaboration is not seen in doing business. But when it comes to catching Bob Njagi and Nicholas Oyo, they already were even given a CV. I saw Museveni saying that Bob Njagi and Nicholas Oyo are experts in riots. So if Bob and Oyo are experts in riots, you know that is a standard Kenyan. As in, those guys do not stand out as different. Completely. So without Raila now, it means that now we have democratized that struggle. They have given birth to so many of those people. And that is why I laugh when the president, our current president, says that he does not have a competitor. As in, a good political strategist will tell you that it's important to know your opponent. When you don't know your opponent, like the president does not know whom he is running against, he has already lost that race.
I think I have this bit of question for you. Just taking you back a bit before we proceed to the next part of this. And I wish us to give it a historical context, perspective, when you talk about the succession of Raila Odinga. Because you know that we've had different transitions in politics. And one such, like Raila's, is when you talk about Kenyatta's time, Tom Mboya, or even Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, and you can name quite a number of them. I'm trying to compare. How do these cases compare? And the reason why I ask this is probably to understand how long will it take even to fully succeed Raila Odinga.
I think talking about succession and putting it in the context of history, Raila's succession might not happen eventually. What will happen is that the country might just have another moment altogether. Because I feel Raila already took care of the second liberation.
Okay.
And that he might not have been the pair of boots that helps us march into the new Kenya that is fighting for the third liberation, which is socio-economic empowerment. That is simply Article 43 of the Constitution. So it might not happen at all. And that has got, you can also see in history. For example, Jomo Kenyatta was a very big person, or rather when a huge figure. People didn't know as a country, would we really move forward on the day after Jomo Kenyatta? So Jomo Kenyatta goes down, Moi is brought in, and everybody, including those that saw him come in, think he's a passing cloud. They call him a passing cloud. Moi is around for 24 years, even as those who thought Moi was, by the time Moi was leaving, Kenyatta's succession was still happening. For 24 years that Moi was in power, different people were trying to actually actualize Kenyatta's succession.
Wow.
And it didn't go through. Moi was around for 24 years. Some of the people that were in line to succeed Kenyatta died in the process of trying to succeed Kenyatta without Kenyatta's succession ever happening. There were so many after Kenyatta, who then becomes the most, let's talk about, even if we were to go regional, who becomes the most important leader from Mount Kenya after Kenyatta one leaves? None. There were so many people. You have got Charles Rubia here, you have got Mwai Kibaki there, you have Matiba, as in so many people along the way, including in 1992, we still had the Kikuyus dividing their votes. Normally there's a lie in this country that Mount Kenya has never divided its votes. Those are people who do not look at history. If you look at the votes in 1992, Kibaki took a very good chunk of votes. Matiba also did the same. So in 1992, Mount Kenya actually divided its vote. In 1997, of course, again, there was a division, but this time, Matiba did not take as many votes. That's how then Kibaki became a leading political voice and then the leader of official opposition. Then in 2002, again, Mount Kenya divided its vote. Uhuru got almost 1 million votes from Mount Kenya alone. And in 2002, 1 million votes was almost 30 to 40% of the vote from Mount Kenya. So by the time Moi left, Jomo Kenyatta's succession had not been completed. Jomo Kenyatta's succession has actually just been seen in his son Uhuru Kenyatta. That is the other time Kikuyus have had one uniting leader who wasn't questioned until his time to leave. Otherwise, since Jomo Kenyatta died, the succession of Jomo Kenyatta was on throughout. Moi, for 24 years, there were people who still considered him a passing cloud.
So for 34 years?
For 24 years.
For 34 years, because Kibaki also became a president for 10 years.
Kibaki also became a president, but still, he was not seen as the unifying person, the way Uhuru Kenyatta became one unifying, almost to, allow me to use the word deity. He almost was deified. They almost deified Kamwana. Today, Raila Odinga holds almost a similar space from the progressive side. And if you have to look at the places where he holds. So it's not going to be possible to replace Raila overnight. The mistake I see out there is the attempt to equate Raila's succession with the succession in ODM, which is a failure. I've already told you that ODM's internal contradiction spell one thing. They spell doom. And I can tell you this, ODM died on the morning Raila died. So even as we discuss, we can discuss this throughout. I already called ODM a parasite. When a cow dies and perchance the tick on that cow lives, it can walk around for a week or two. But it will eventually die because the host is no longer there. So ODM can move around for 2-3 weeks. And 2-3 weeks politically could be up to 2027.
Okay.
That's why I said, if Oburu Odinga does not say,
yes,
when is this when?
Yes.
When does the new leadership come in?
Yes.
And nowadays it's impossible to do political party. The one thing that set ODM aside is that ODM was able to do elections to the grassroots.
Okay.
I was once a member of UDA.
Yes.
Normally I love to say that when I was mad, I was a member of UDA.
Okay.
Then when I got healed, I left.
Okay.
We tried to do election. Do you know what broke UDA? Do you know what saw even Gachagua being impeached?
Not quite.
The elections in UDA. A lot of times people don't want to talk about that. But when we tried to do elections the way ODM did elections in the grassroots, everything fell apart. Even by the time Gachagua was being impeached, elections had not been done in Mount Kenya. I led the party in an attempt to reach out to Gen Zs, and we were going to universities. I was moderating the sessions everywhere. We were unable to go to Mount Kenya.
Why is it difficult to do elections in UDA?
Because ODM was the only other party that did elections like KANU used to do elections. I'm talking about the old KANU. Wachana na ESIs imekuwa CBO.
Yes.
Ile KANU ya kitambo, proper now, that party, when there were elections from mzee wa kijiji huko chini until the national level, only ODM attempted to do that. The other parties that have actually even captured power have been SPVs, special purpose vehicles. They take somebody to elections, and after that, they are dissolved. So they just become organizations. Like PNU doesn't serve any role today. Uhuru Kenyatta is a very clever man. He realized that Jubilee was dying. So what did he do? He then told the people that they have no enmity with Gachagua. So by doing that, he has given Jubilee a lifeline. So the people will be like, kind of, if you feel like you have been oppressed in DCP, you can come to Jubilee. It's still a regional party, but all of us are pouring in the same river. So, see, vibaya hakuna makosa, there is no loss. That is Uhuru Kenyatta's trick by saying, stop attacking Gachagua. It is to give Jubilee a chance, a fighting chance in Mount Kenya. Now, the people in Mount Kenya have an option. But before that, I can tell you, DCP was going to slaughter people. When I talk about slaughtering here, any politician who would have not run on DCP was going to face slaughter at the ballot. So you could see PNU, you can see TNA gone, you can see which other party that has, even NAC in 204. So that is the fate of so many parties. ODM was a different party because it had, as much as it was difficult to do elections, you remember the last time they did near real elections, it ended up with men in black. Doing political party elections from the grassroots is not easy. And that is why as many young people as are out there aspiring to control the leadership of this country without having a hold of a party that is respected, and we're talking about a grassroots-led and empowered party, you will only end up being a local boy and servants in these political parties. You can only eat the crumbs. Because if you do not control the party, number one, ideologically, you do not lead the ideological leadership. If you differ with them, you are put in the cold, you are put in the freezer, in the words of Museveni. So the future of this country, I do not see it, ODM, playing a role in the future of this country. But Raila's legacy will play a very pivotal role in the future of the country. So let us separate Raila the person, the ideals he stood for, and ODM. Like I said, ODM is just one of Raila's legacies, a beneficiary of Raila, but then Raila's movement should be separated from ODM.
Wow, quite interesting, Mr. Maliba. We are coming to the end of this conversation, and probably I just wish to understand the future alliances. And when talk about the future alliances, of course, therein lies ODM. And I think probably what I would wish to ask you, that looking ahead, even to 2027 and beyond, from where you sit, where does the future of ODM lie? Is it, number one, in continuing to work with UDA? Is it by partnering with Kenya Kwanza, of course, now formally, that is Kenya Kwanza and UDA? Or number two, is it that they go and start working with the United Opposition? Or should it remain as ODM, and probably for it to survive?
Well, if you look at ODM right now, it has a path. We are looking at Raila, who has had very many coalitions, and most of them we have not been able to see the implementations of the agreements he has made. Most of them, another election comes, they didn't implement what they envisioned in these kind of agreements. And that is why even Sifuna has been complaining throughout. If you look at towards 2027, definitely ODM will only be a serious political party if it still remains in government. If it's not in government and all these people are chased out to whoever, I mean the CSAs, you know, that pact that was there before Raila went. If it is not there, then we are looking at another opposition. But then again, there are a lot of factions. Remember, it's already a divided party. The only person there who is uniting figure is Oburu Odinga. So if we are moving towards 2027 and they are still in government, they still have a lifeline, because the ministries that are strengthening ODM, they still have a budget, they still contribute to the party, they still empower their people. If there is a reshuffle, let's say in the cabinet secretary positions, you have seen a lot of speculations out there that this person coming from ODM might get this position, this another one might, out of influence, flaws might be replaced and so forth. I believe the pact between William Ruto and ODM faction might continue until 2027. But then it's a very slippery slope, because definitely the party, now who is making decisions on behalf of who? Remember, it was Raila who was proposing these people for these positions. Now that there is that vacuum, definitely everyone wants that position. And in 2026, I believe, there will be a lot of, I do not predict or rather prophesy, but I believe it's already showing cracks. The likes of people who are very influential, Raila was relying on for, moving the masses, even the younger guard, the likes of Babu, all these people, they're almost exiting. If you look at Sifuna, if you look at Gladys Wanga, there is a lot of supremacy battles happening. Young people, do they have future in this kind of political parties? I believe younger parties will still show up, but there will be serious coalitions, because if you look at Mount Kenya, the way
and actually that even begs the question, because as we talk about ODM, ODM has raised quite a number of people, and you've talked about Edwin Sifuna, Babu Owino. Should they disagree with the position of the party of supporting probably the Kenya Kwanza government, what becomes of them? Let us narrow down to two guys, Edwin Sifuna, Babu Owino. What kind of a future or a possible future could they have?
There are, I think, close to 100, I'm not very sure, political parties, registered political parties in Kenya. There are so many options for those leaders, but then you need to identify which vehicle you want. Do you want to board a bus? Do you want to use a Ferrari? Do you want to use a tuk-tuk? So, towards 2027, I believe, you can be a very popular political leader, but without a serious political vehicle. Ni kama kusukuma gari halina gurudumu, or even without an engine. So I believe these political leaders, they are known. There is difference between popularity and real leadership. You can be popular, you can be known all over, na watu wakose kukupigia kura, simply because you don't align with party structures. Remember, I said political parties form a government. So I believe the likes of Sifuna, if there will be a coalition, then let it be a coalition of young people.
So let me ask you, if then ODM is indeed a structured party, as you've mentioned, and put it right, but if they should leave this party that is quite structured to join another vehicle, and if rightly put that there is a tuk-tuk and so on and so forth, do they then sacrifice what they have known, what they have stood for, and join the party that has agreed to work with a person they do not want? How does it play for them?
A political party
Yes.
Is defined by its leader.
Yeah.
Raila Odinga was a very mercurial man.
Yes.
He was very unpredictable. Today we'll sit with you here, tell you that we are remaining strong to this cause. And then tomorrow utamuona amesalimia mtu huko. He has made a coalition with another political party. Right now, if Oburu Odinga wakes up early in the morning and says, tomorrow we are merging with the Jubilee or with the DCP, definitely...
Or leaving
there will be a lot.
Living the broad-based.
Yes.
There are some people who will tell him, you live alone.
Mimi nakwambia Raila was the man mwenye alikuwa anaenda na cut deals, watu wanasema ameendea pesa State House, and they will still follow him. And if you come to the meeting,
Yes.
if you come to Raila meeting and then try to question what Raila has made is final, unapigwa hapo hapo. So sahi niambie, even the likes of Babu, they could not dare. Even the likes of Sifuna, all these people, they have been made by Raila. Okay. Without Raila,
yes,
there was so much struggle even to form their own political organizations, and it is fact, and even Kenyans know. So in my opinion, what we are looking at is, if young people, if they feel left out, they can merge to form one force. This can be a coalition
but
of,
will
let's
it be
say,
a formidable force?
Well, you see
Will it
now,
really be
like
formidable?
Maliba said earlier before the interview, he
Yes.
said that young people have a problem
Yes.
of, first of all, they want self-actualization. They want, first of all, to grow themselves. So
Yes.
everyone is trying to, ulisema nini ile ya vitu nne? Maina Jenga, what he said.
You know, like defining the millennials as the 1, 2, 3, 4 generation.
Yes.
That they have got one wife, 2 children, a 3-bedroom house, and a 4-wheel drive car.
Yeah.
That is the aspiration of millennials.
That is the aspirations of millennials.
So before they beat that battle,
Yes.
ya kwanza kabisa kujiondoa kwa umaskini,
Yes.
ndio sasa ufikirie mambo ya kupanga. Unajua sahi mtu, there are so many young people vying positions.
Yes.
But if you ask them,
Yeah.
they will tell you, I'm doing this for the society.
Yeah.
But deep down, they want to eliminate poverty from their lives. They first of all want that salary.
Yes.
They want those allowances.
Yes.
They want to drive big cars.
Yes.
They have those aspirations. But if you look for a politician who is above 60, who is wealthy,
Yes.
he has different aspirations
yeah.
for you to contest for
Wow.
a position.
Well,
Yeah.
well put. Let me also pose the same question to you, sir. Number one, on the young, and particularly this gentleman, what becomes of them and their future if they're supposed to, if they are to, who are, and particularly the ones that have been built by Raila Odinga, if they are to into the future, what will it mean to them, these political realignments? But I also asked that what is the future of ODM in realigning probably for its maybe 2027 and even post 2027? Do they continue with Ruto? Do they go it alone? Do they join the united opposition? And what will even that portend for the future of ODM?
I have said this, I think, on this set severally today.
Yes.
But from how I look at it, ODM died on the morning Raila Odinga died. And unless you are a cannibal, you stay with a long pork, you will just end up burying it. Anyone that stays, long pork is the softer word of human flesh. Unless you are a cannibal, you plan to eat it. You'll just have to bury it. So ODM has got two fates. There's a cannibal called William Ruto. He could eat ODM for his dinner in 2027. But if Sifuna and Babu Wino and the others somehow fight and get control of ODM, they will simply be fighting for a corpse. Because ODM is not going to define the politics of the future. Again, you're also wrong when you think that the people Raila Odinga has brought up are only in ODM. Raila was a wave. Raila was a phenomenon. There is Raila literally in every upcoming politician in this country. That is a fact. There are Raila-lites all over. Even those who were cursing him when he went to shake the hand, they were doing the things Raila said that people should do. They might not have agreed momentarily at that particular hour, but they were doing Railaism. So many of us are Christians, but we might not really agree with everything in the Bible. Sometimes we wish our Bible was written in pencil so that we can erase that place we don't like. Where it says do not and you want to do, you actually just do away with the not so that it is do. So it doesn't mean that essentially we are denialists of the faith. There are a lot of people, and most of Raila's mentees are not in ODM. So Raila's legacy lives over and above ODM. But within ODM, the organization, there is an internal ideological contradiction, and no organization can survive internal contradiction. So long as there is that ideological contradiction within the party, that party is headed nowhere. That party is dead. But then the country must move on. So Raila's dreams, the overarching dreams, the vision and desire will actually Raila was able to push and pursue Jaramogi Odinga's dreams, desire, and ambition through NDP, LDP, and eventually through ODM. He didn't have to do it through Ford Kenya. So it's just a matter of when before Sifuna, Caleb Amisi, Babu, and the others are jettisoned from the party. Then ODM will take a retreat and then become a Nyanza party alone. Because in 2027, ODM cannot win a seat in Nairobi. So there must be a new person who takes care of the people who do not consider themselves the Mount Kenya group in Nairobi. There must be a new leader. Currently, there is no leader. With Raila's exit, it will be difficult to put the traditional Raila voting constituency in Nairobi of Luos, Luyas, Kisis, and the other groups that make the Raila traditional voting bloc in Nairobi. Who's taking care of that voting bloc in Nairobi? No one. There's no one. So it's, as we see today, unless the strategy changes, it is impossible for ODM to win a seat in Nairobi in 2027.
Wow.
So we can talk about people inheriting Raila in different spaces, including taking over his struggle and fight. The people who will do that might not even be in ODM, because currently the leadership in ODM is obsessed with having lunch and fine things in State House. They might not really, they are telling you we are okay. They are even justifying the things that Raila used to stand against. So you do not expect those people to further Raila's dream and ambition. Mm-hmm. So from where we sit, they might stay around, for purposes of not being seen as mean people who left immediately, Baba left. But ODM is as good as dead, and ODM is as dead as Dodo. I told you, a parasite can move around after the host has died.
Yes.
A couple of weeks. Those weeks could be probably up to 2027.
Yes.
William Ruto is going to be the new host to probably sustain ODM until he is ready to do what? To go. Okay. And I need to finish on this point. Yes. This one is very, very important. Okay. The reason why ODM is not going anywhere is because the people in ODM who currently have got control over the party are people who will insist in working with William Ruto. And there is no mathematics of William Ruto winning the election in 2027. Because William Ruto has succeeded to create new tribes, 2 new tribes. The working class tribe and the youthfulness as a tribe. Initially, the youth were not a tribe, they were not a voting bloc. And there had never, until recently, the only voting blocks that we had were just ethnic voting blocks. But from the census, from now the data that we collect, the biggest voting bloc is Mount Kenya. The second most important voting bloc that has, let me call it a tribe, that William Ruto has created is the working class. Then the young Luyas and the young Luos take second, or rather third and fourth position respectively. Then number 5, the Gen Z. So William Ruto has created a new tribe and a voting bloc that did not exist. 2 of them, Gen Zs and the working class. Those will also be arriving in 2027. Whatever mathematics you do, William Ruto cannot win this election. So, but ODM wants to die on that sinking ship. The current leadership, the people in control of ODM now, would rather stay here for lunch, knowing too well that there is a bomb here that is going to go off. But this lunch is very important that they can't abandon it. Okay. And that is the biggest problem with, that's why I'm actually telling you, ODM's end is already, you can actually, let the eulogy was actually behind Raila's eulogy. Those guys are not going anywhere.
Quite interesting. Anthony, let me come to you and, as you give your parting shot, even as we come to the close of this conversation. Yes, your parting shot.
I think what I would say is that there are so many young people who lost their lives in the demonstrations, 2024 demonstrations, the Gen Z demonstrations. These lives were not lost in vain. These people, they wanted to come together because we have so many problems in this society, economic problems. So many young people, even right now, they are sleeping hungry. They come from very poor and needy families. I believe we only make choices in our lives which can determine the kind of livelihoods that we live. So in my opinion, young people need first of all to understand that political parties such as ODM, they were crafted way long before. I think it was 2005. It is indeed true, and it is a fact that you can create something of your own, have the right vision, and create it to become a vehicle which can change the lives of a society. Young people should be able to form themselves within groups, political parties. These political parties are the ones that should form government. Hakuna maana ya kufanya maandamano, na hiyo maandamano mnafanya hamna agenda real, mnajua kama mtaweza kufika to the table of negotiation. Remember when Raila, before he left us, he was talking about a intergenerational conclave, or rather conversation. Will this really materialize? Remember when I was here, I said that such kind of initiatives require something that is binding, like a contract, whereby there is a team, there is a budget, and there are deliverables, and then there is timelines, whereby there is money set aside for this thing, and then people come up with ideas on how we can better the society. Now, going to 2027, young people, we have seen in the past, they have what we call voter apathy. Young people normally don't vote. If you look at 2022, how many young people voted? I think it was around, it was 39 point something percent of young people between the age of 18 to 35, which was a drop of, I think, around 5.7% from 2017 elections. What we are seeing is that there is a downward trend in terms of the young people who have registered as voters. I still continue to encourage and to speak out to very many young people, especially those I represent, the students, comrades, wajitokeze kwa wingi, they register as voters. You cannot say that unainama, na pia ungoje mpaka 2027, 2028, tena useme na nimeinama zaidi. You need to register as a voter.
Will they still be comrades?
You know, sasa ni vibaya sana uiname ukiwa comrade, na tena uiname ukiwa mzazi. So the best thing is that you register as a voter, you ngoje 2027, you either vie or you support your favorite candidate, you align yourself with a formidable political party that you believe in, and then you make some real change. So that, because that is what we believe will really, of course, help our lives. Thank you
so much. Let me get to hear from you, your parting shot, sir, as we come to the close of this conversation.
My parting shot is very simple. To the young people of this country. What we have at the moment, what is ongoing, is actually a generational handover. It's happening right under our nose, but somehow we do not see it. It's a demographic imperative that a new generation always takes over. So from where we see today, millennials are the core of the leadership of where we are going. When we discuss, you realize that we have got a template and a framework with which we discuss leadership and even succession. Somehow, we are not bold enough to accept that it's time millennials showed up, not just by paying taxes, not just by being the middle class, not just being the new parents, but the people that now take care of the country, because they are the core of the country today. They are the cogs that are running our economy. In 2027, the majority of the people in parliament will be millennials. Are they ready? There is a question we need to actually ask ourselves. With the way they actually conduct themselves, are they ready? Will Kenya be better under millennials? Because those are the people with the disposable income, those are the people with a little bit of experience, those are the people with a little bit of profile. So there is a generational handover that is happening. The few of the millennials that have gone ahead of us, some of them have already messed up. The governors that we have, we see scandals. Even the CSS that are millennials, you see them and you see there's a little bit of a problem. But unfortunately, there's a generational handover, and that is what we have to live with. It will not be determined by the parties we are talking about. Kenya will have a new Kenya will have a new government in 2027. People have to decide, because the country has decided whom it is not voting for. Whom it's voting for, it doesn't know. In 2002, it was yote yawezekana bila Moi. The election was cast based on Moi and not the candidate they were voting in. The song Yote Yawezekana Bila Moi was actually set that way for a reason. That's why it was not Yote Yawezekana na Kibaki. It was Yote Yawezekana Bila Moi. This time round, we are all united and everybody knows the person they cannot vote for and they should not vote for. So the country largely knows whom they are not voting for. They've not decided whom they will vote for. And that is a big problem because whoever comes in is more important than the one we are voting out. It's a big, big problem. So anybody can win, by the way, in 2027. I know a lot of people do not see that because we have got this rigid template with which we do political analysis. But from where we are, we know whom we are not voting for. So William Ruto is automatically out. He is not part and parcel of the matrix in 2027. Secondly, until 2029, when the Luyas match up with the Kikuyus in numbers.
What if he comes back? What would you say?
It's not possible. I'm giving you the numbers here. And we can actually break down. I'll tell you. I know miracles happen.
Okay, let me just ask you this last question. Why is Ruto not coming back?
That's what I was actually going to tell you.
Okay.
So, let me tell you this. That until 2029, the next census, when Luyas are expected to be equal to Kikuyus, in 2027, the only side that can win an election is the side with which Mount Kenya will cast a vote. It's painful. It might not be acceptable. It might not be palatable, but that is the fact that in 2027, that side that Mount Kenya will cast the vote with, that is the side that will win. The only time that matrix changes will be in 2032 if somebody can put together Luyas properly, because they will then at that particular point be the same population with the Kikuyus. That is the only time these mathematics changes. Otherwise, pale penye Mount Kenya itapiga kura, hapo ndio penye rais atakuwa.
These other tribes are not giving birth?
They are giving birth, yes, but not at the same rate, and there is a way we've been socialized politically. So unfortunately, as unpalatable as it is, I know people will say, we need to move on over and above tribes. I've told you, courtesy of William Ruto, we have two new tribes, the working class and Gen Zs.
Okay.
Unfortunately, all of them are not voting for William Ruto. So what then happens when we have got the new tribe of the working class, and I've called it a tribe deliberately, then you have got Gen Zs, and that is almost 2 million people. I'm talking about the ones that are actively in politics, that have already decided. I can break down for you one by one on how William Ruto cannot win. Here, if you had 2 minutes, I will tell you.
Okay.
And do it. Number one, let's assume that William Ruto gets all the votes from Rift Valley. We know 30% of Rift Valley is Kikuyus. There is 15% of Rift Valley that is Luyas. But let's say that William Ruto gets 3.5 million votes from Rift Valley. Let's also say that he gets 1 million votes complete. You can even make it 1.2 from Northeastern. Okay, make it 1.5 from Northeastern. It was 800. Let us double it with the threats they've been giving us. Give it 1.5 million. All of it. You give it to William Ruto. That is 5, right? Okay, where else does he get the votes? Now, can I bring you home? Yes. Okay, let's give him 50% of Western. Let's assume that Western, which I know Western is actually anti this regime.
Yes.
Luyas left Kenya Kwanza before Kikuyus left. That is why the likes of Kina Khalwale and the others started disturbing long time ago, because Luyas had already left.
Okay.
Now, let's give him 1.5 million votes from Luya land.
Yes.
He has got 6.5.
Yes.
Now, let's talk about the other side, whatever the united opposition candidate will have. Let's start with Mount Kenya, with 7.8 million votes. Let's, for purposes of argument, say that only 6 million will turn up. 1.8 will not. So 6.8, 6 million that is not voting for William Ruto. Take 1 million from Western. He still does not make up those numbers.
Wow, interesting. Thank you so much, Arnold Maliba, and of course Anthony Manyara, for that insightful conversation. I call it insightful and insightful. I know you know what that means. Thank you so much. This was a great conversation. This is the Power Table, where we get to bring men and women of power and influence, talk about issues of power, talk about politics, governance, economy, business, and so on, things that affect you. And through the lenses these thought leaders help us to understand and help us to chew these issues into policies that we can be able to swallow. Well, it has been my time, our time, and my name is Eugene Kwach, and this is the Power Table. See you next time.